Usher fed Sabrina cherries? India and Pakistan just traded missiles, and the US might have ended a war without telling anyone. And a Motown legend is facing some serious allegations. Let's get into it. This is Control Alt. What the Sabrina Carpenter got fed cherries by Usher at the Met Gala, and Pops went full savage by immediately texting her, period, weird, period. That's literally what he texted her. And honestly, that reaction might be more iconic than the moment itself. So let's set the scene. Sabrina's in full Louis Vuitton LV front row. Usher walks up mid-performance, smooth as ever, and literally feeds her cherries, like dangles them on her tongue, and she sticks her tongue out. Kind of weird. So the internet, they said, Dad, he's a bit unhinged. Reddit's top comment, I swear all dads have the same text aura, end quote. Someone else joked, Usher is almost old enough to be her dad, so honestly, super valid reaction, end quote. So Sabrina's having her main character moment, and her dad's like, what? So that's just peak dad behavior. And while Sabrina's feeding the memes, the US may have just fed a global ceasefire without looping in some of its closest allies. What do you get when the US stops bombing rebels but forgets to tell its allies? Let's talk about the ceasefire that no one saw coming. President Trump just announced that the U.S. will halt all bombing campaigns against the Houthi rebels in Yemen, effective immediately. Why? Well, because the Houthis allegedly told U.S. officials, we don't want to fight anymore, end quote. This comes after weeks of intense U.S. airstrikes with over 1,000 Houthi targets hit since March 15th, aimed at stopping attacks on commercial red ships in the Red Sea. Now remember, that region handles 12% of global trade, and since October, the Houthis have launched 300-plus attacks on vessels, including U.S. military ships. It's been chaos at sea, so the idea of a ceasefire, that's huge. Here's the twist. Houthi leaders gave mixed signals. Some deny surrender, others threaten fresh attacks on Israel, and even told Zionists to hide or leave the country. And Israel? Well, they found out like the rest of us, after the fact. Same with the UK. No heads up, no coordination, just kind of vibes. So now we've got a ceasefire on paper and a fresh missile strike inside Tel Aviv's airport in reality. Israel hit back hard, targeting Houthi airports and tunnels. Houthis responded, meet escalation with escalation, end quote. So yeah, peaceful vibes? Not quite. Bottom line, the US may have paused its bombing, but the region's fuse is still lit. We'll keep tracking it because the story isn't over. Meanwhile, back in the US, another story is unfolding, one that hits a very different nerve. It's about fame, power, and a lawsuit that could redefine a legacy. Motown legend Smokey Robinson is facing a $50 million lawsuit, accused of sexual assault and workplace abuse by 4 women. The lawsuit, filed in LA, comes from 3 former housekeepers and 1 personal assistant. They're suing anonymously as Jane Doe 1 through 4. The women say Robinson coerced sex over the span of years, sometimes summoning them when his wife was away and allegedly emerging from showers to demand sexual acts. They also say they worked long hours, 10-hour days, 6 days a week, with no overtime, no proper pay, and no time off. Robinson's wife, Frances, is named too, accused of contributing to a hostile work environment and using racial slurs. The women say they felt powerless because of Robinson's fame, money, and the fear of not being believed. No police charges have been filed, and Robinson's team hasn't issued a public statement yet, but with the case now public, the industry may have to reckon with a very uncomfortable question. What happens when icons are accused at 85? 2 nuclear powers just exchanged missiles, and that's not even the scariest part. India just launched its largest peacetime missile strike in decades, targeting what they call terrorist camps in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. This comes after a deadly terrorist attack killed 26 Indian civilians last month, most of them tourists, in the disputed region of Kashmir. India says the strikes were measured. No Pakistani military bases hit, no aircraft crossed borders, just precision from a distance. Pakistan, well, they're calling it an act of war, and they've already responded. Artillery fire along the lines of control, a warning that revenge is coming, quote, at a time and place of our choosing, and that India will feel enduring grief, end quote. Now pause. This isn't just about this week. India and Pakistan have been at odds over Kashmir since 1947. They've fought wars, they've both gone nuclear, and they've seen countless skirmishes, with civilians stuck in the middle. Just weeks ago, tourists were snapping selfies in Kashmir. Now it's lockdowns, canceled flights, and missile debris in the mountains. So, we have two nations, centuries of tension, nuclear weapons, and no clear plan for peace. If diplomacy fails, even a small misstep could turn historic tension into something catastrophic. Stay tuned. This one's heating up fast. That's it for today's CtrlAltWTF. From pop stars getting fed cherries to global ceasefires to lawsuits that challenge legacies. It's a weird world out there. Whether it's pop culture, politics, or something in between, we'll be here decoding the chaos. So stay curious, stay chill. This is CtrlAltWTF. Later.